Hello, my loves. This is Nana, and I am making these videos to document all of the places that I have lived since the time I was born until now. It is August 30th of 2022, and I just turned 54 yesterday, so I figured what better time. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but what better time to start it now? And so maybe when you're older and you get curious about things like this, you'll have these to look back on. So here we go. This is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and about 6 miles away is Homestead, Munhall, and Whitaker, which is where I was born and grew up. So yes, Nana is from Pittsburgh. This is Homestead Hospital, where I was born. I stayed here for about 2 weeks until I was big enough to go home. I wasn't premature, I was just a small baby. And since they were sending me home to the projects, I had to be able to defend myself. So, yeah, that's me as a baby. And they used to lay us on our bellies when we were little. So, I probably rubbed all of the skin off my nose fighting for air. But so they sent me home with this lady, Carol, um, English, Irish, German, who goal in life was to become a telephone operator. And this guy, Andrew, who is of Slovakian descent, did time in an orphanage and fought in World War II. Um, His name was Andrew, but everybody called him Ouchy. So during the course of these videos, if you hear me talk about Ouchy, this is who I'm talking about. So they sent me home to the drug-free zone known as Mon View Heights, more commonly known as the Whitaker Projects. And this is where I started my life out. The first row that I lived in was row 6. Um, all of the addresses here were Midway Drive, but everybody lived in rows, like these row houses. So here's an aerial shot of that. Up here at the very top is row 20. This is row 6. This is where I would have been brought home. This is row 5. This is row 10. And I lived in all of those. So once you get the layout of it, it was a pretty big apartment complex. But they were rows, and then the rows had letters. So like when I lived in row 5, it would have been like 5D or 20H or 6B, but everybody was Midway Drive. So this is an aerial of how close we were to like the other places where I grew up. So this is Whitaker. This is the area we were just in, which is Mon View Heights, the Whitaker Projects. I also lived in Homestead, Munhall, and this would have been the high school that I went to. But we're not going to cover this area right now because we're doing this in chronological order of where I lived at the time. So before we can get to Homestead, Munhall, and all of that, we have to go to Florida and then Georgia and then back to Florida, and then we come back to Pennsylvania and get into those areas. So we are in Whitaker, and this picture shows how close we were to Kennywood Park. So up here, this is the projects, and then down here in this lower corner is Kennywood. A lot of our school picnics would be held here when I was younger. So lots of good memories of going to Kennywood and Here's a better picture, a little bit closer. Um, and then here, this is the Jackrabbit. Like when I was little, this was like the only roller coaster that I could ride, and it was like my like I could not wait until I was big enough to be able to ride the racer, but I wouldn't be able to do that until I was um, a teenager because then we moved away. Um, so this is me at about 1, and I use this picture a lot, like here on YouTube and on my website, because I always say that this is how I'm gonna end up again someday, which is like bald, chubby, and missing most of my teeth. So that's me at 1. This is about 3 years old. I'm not sure. And then this is when, for a short time, we moved to a house on Washington Avenue, which is still in Whitaker, and that would be this house. So if you ever want to Google this house, this is on the corner of Washington Avenue and Plum. So, and there were rumors that this house was haunted, and I mean, it has the look. Um, I did OD in this house as a child. Carol and Ouchy were at a wedding, and I ate an entire bottle of baby aspirin. And I'm not saying that the rocking horse had anything to do with it, but he certainly was complicit. He did help me get to the bottle, which was up on the mantle. So he did help. So I was probably about 3 living in this house, and I don't remember much about it, but this house was huge. Like it had 2 staircases. There was one that went from like the front door, and then there was one that came in the back door from like went through the kitchen, and they met at the top. And we only lived there for maybe about a year and a half. Um, Carol says there were many instances of suspicious activity, mostly hearing running on the stairs and voices and phone receivers being slammed down, light bulbs popping. I do have a memory of being chased like outside by what I can only remember looking like the Hamburglar from McDonald's. Yeah, I still hate that little bastard. But while I was looking up this house a while ago, I also I was talking with my daughter like through text messages, and I was sending her pictures, and and the more we looked, the more we kept seeing stuff. But I know it's probably just reflections, and the eye will see what the eye wants to. But that orb, yeah, that orb is probably like my soul leaving my body as a child living in this house. But look, the more you look at this, look at the faces in these trees. See, look, I see it. I see it. The more you look at it, the more you can see it. Like this face here in the tree, and there's a face here in the tree, and there's a face right here in this tree. Like the more you look at it, the more you see them. And look, oh, in the bush, look, there's a face right here, and there's a face over here, there's a face right here. Just creepy. Like this, I am leaving this house. And, yep, there it is. There's, there's an angel. Oh, look, but no, there's another face. There's a face there. That's a face there. So anyway, we will leave this house. So we stayed here for about a year, maybe 2, and then yeah, so that would be me. I don't know how I ended up with the short hair on that, but so somehow I ended up with the short hair, and then we ended up back here in row 20. Row 20, if you remember that aerial picture, that was the one that I showed that was up at the very top of the projects. And the projects were kind of like built on a hill, so there's were these steps that would go down to the next level of rows, and I could get I can't get in there on Google Maps to get pics, but because the road that the main road that goes through all of these is Midway Drive, which is exclusive to this neighborhood, so Google Maps doesn't go in and drive around those streets. Um, Here's an example of those steps, though. They were pretty steep, so these are actually at a different building than row 20, but they were all the same. So at row 20, like if this was row 20, these steps would go down to like row 19. These were actually in the back of row 5, which I did live in later on. But here is that aerial picture of row 20. This was a tunnel that went through, like from the front yards into the backyards. So you would have access from, instead of having to go all the way around the building on either side to get from the front to the back. But we used to play in those tunnels and yell and scream and um, but do the things that kids did. Yeah, here's a better picture of that tunnel. And at the end of this building is Oak Street, which is where this it dead ends into this parking lot here. And this is a sidewalk that would go up. I think we actually lived in this one here because I believe we were right next to the tunnel. Yeah, here's a better picture of that, and let's see how this hill is that goes down, and then so this is a two-story building, and this is the top of it. So yeah, it was pretty steep to go down there. This is row 19, row 20, and that's me playing in the yard. And I used to climb those trees. I was a bit of a tomboy, and like I said, that's a pretty steep hill, and um, I would climb up into these trees, give my mom a heart attack, and my mom used to tell the neighborhood Karens that would come after me for beating up their little boys that they were gonna beat me for hitting their kids, and my mom would just basically tell them, "Well, go ahead and beat her, but when you're done, I'm gonna throw you over the hill. So make your choice." And I never got beat, so that was a wise choice. So there's me. This is kindergarten um, with my Wizard of Oz dress. Ouchie, get her out of those trees. Um, This would have been about the time that The Exorcist came out. And my oldest brother, he was 10 years older than me, and this is my oldest brother, not my second oldest. Um, he would cut the pictures out of the magazines with Linda Blair with her makeup on, like her possessed makeup on, and then he would like scratch on the windows, and when we would look out, he would have those pictures taped on the windows. I'm not traumatized. Okay, so, all right, maybe a little. All right. It seems like every time something like major happened, my hair would get cut off. I don't know. Maybe I did it. I don't know. Um, so it would have been about this time when I was about this age that my parents separated, and I ended up living here with my dad, and also at a house um, with my mom. And yeah, it would have been this. I think I have a better, yeah, that shows that this would be like the same row as like row 6 was, but this was row 10. Same layout though. And we lived in this middle apartment right here. Um, Now, the house that my mom moved to, um, it was on Sylvan Avenue. And before we go there, I just want to I just want to say we aren't going to spend a whole lot of time on that one. Nothing good ever happened there, and I actually wished like many, many times for that like this house to burn down. Um, and these were taken like many, many years after we lived there, and still the house is just. I mean, what the hell is this thing? It doesn't like even Google Maps doesn't want to show it. They have it like all blurred out. Like what is that? Like I don't know. So this is, I think, a person. They're all blurred out because I honestly don't even think that they're wearing clothes. So anyway, so yeah, this house actually did burn in. It looks like August of 2013, and I'm sorry for whoever was living there. I hope they're okay. But as far as that house, like good riddance. I mean, I hate to say that, but really, I'm glad it's gone. It's just an empty lot now, and that's good. So we ended up living here with my dad in row 10, and oh, this probably be a good time to mention my dad actually was maintenance for the projects, and he worked there, and we lived there, and um, this was just a little one-bedroom apartment. So as soon as he could get us a bigger place, we moved here, just right there, to row 5. So we lived here, same layout as row 20 with the tunnel. And actually, I don't know if anybody would happen to be watching this that lives there now. These rows here, when I was born, like according to my mom, these used to just be like there were 3 two-story apartments here, and then they changed it to where it would be 6 apartments. Like this would be the front ones, and then they changed it so that these top floors actually became apartments to make this 6 apartments now. And then like these would be the access stairs to go up to these apartments along the back. So I don't know if anybody is actually watching these videos that happens to live there now. Feel free to comment on that or anything about the projects. So this is row 5. We would have lived in 5D. So this would be A, B, C, D. So we lived in this apartment here. Here's that tunnel like they had on row 20. So yeah, so my dad worked maintenance there. And this is where there's supposedly like a legend, like the legend of Ouchy. Um, he actually died in these projects, actually while he was at work. So he actually died on the property, and the rumor has it, the legend is that exactly a year to the day later that he passed away, that this apartment that we had lived in at the time actually caught on fire. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, why would somebody make that up? I don't know. But when, of course, we didn't hear about this until years later. But yeah, everybody that lived here knew Ouchie. They knew us as his kids. And so, yeah, we did hear about that a little bit later after we had come back from Florida. Like I said, yeah, if anybody knows anything about that, feel free to comment on that. Um, this is those back steps again that come down from the apartments, and this actually led to a road that my brother and I used to walk down. Um, oh, stop that! Stop it! It's not that bad. Um, these steps led down to Mifflin Street. And that's this road here. And it's actually like really steep. So we would come out of the back here. This is that row 5 that I was just showing you. That's row 6 where I came home as a baby. And this is row 20 where I lived on about the ages of about 5. But anyway, like this road down in here, we used to walk down this road onto this road, which called Kennywood Boulevard. And yeah, this road. We used to walk down this road and actually along Kennywood Boulevard to get to Kennywood. And we would just walk down there and hopefully like find tickets or money in the wishing well so we could buy tickets. But yeah, and we're talking like at the ages of like 7 and 8. Like yeah, like this girl here would walk to Kennywood with her brother. Oh, those were the days. So yeah, so it was about at this point that my father passed away, and my mother, who was in Florida at that time, um, came back, and then we moved to Florida. But so like, but this is the school that I went to there. And um, let's see. So if this was our apartment building here, we would just kind of come out here, walk down to this block right here, and then this is that school that we're looking at now, which is right there. Yeah, Whitaker Public Schools. I can't remember if I was on the first floor or second floor, but I think I remember being able to see like Whitaker Field. So maybe I was on the second floor. Yeah, down this street here. This is the front of the school, and then down this street at the end of the street is Whitaker Field. But they used to put. Let me go back real quick. Back in this back parking lot when I was younger, they used to put like a big screen up and show movies for all the kids in the neighborhood. So I remember that. That was really cool, and just like being around in this neighborhood. Um, This is the little grocery store where we used to go to get all of our groceries, and my dad would run a tab here. So, like me and my brother or sister, if we ever needed anything, we would just go up to this little store and put it on Ouchy's tab, and we could get whatever we want. And I used to buy jars of pickles. Just yeah, even as a young kid, my obsession with like pickles was strong. But yeah, I remember I lost like he gave me $10 for something, and I lost it in the store. And I remember running home crying that I'd lost our money because that was a lot of money for us at the time. This is just the side of that building. This is I guess what is now Lizzie's Dairy, but at the time um, we all refer to this as Whitaker Drugstore. And my oldest brother, the exorcist guy, would hang out here with all of his hoodlum friends, like hang out in front of the drugstore. This is a bar, or it was at the time a bar called The Spot. And this is directly across the street from the projects. So like you just like walked across the street, that would be that row 5 where we lived. Um, and my dad used to let me come here with him and play like the bowling machines. If anybody remembers the machines where you get the little bowling balls and play bowling and listen to the jukebox and eat pistachios. And back in those days, the pistachios were all dyed red, so I would be just like face, hands, everything covered in from the shells of the red pistachios. This building here is the VFW that was in Whitaker. There was something about this door that used to fascinate me. I think they had like this like bell or some kind of something peephole on this door that used to just fascinate me as a kid, and I used to either knock on the door or ring the bell or something all the time. So yeah, this building brought back some memories for me. If this is the right building, I believe it is. But yeah, so that was this girl. So now it is about 1978, and Ouchy has passed away, and so now then our next stop is going to be in Hialeah, Florida. So that would be this girl. And remember, I said every time something like traumatic happened, something happened with my hair, and so like this time it was a perm, and I think I got the perm because my older sister wanted a perm, and so I got one too. But I don't know. I certainly wouldn't have asked for this on my own. So here's where we're going next. This is going to be Hialeah, Florida, and we're going to find out where I lived there. So for now, goodbye, and I will see you in Hialeah.